Welcome, everybody, to the news segment. March 3rd, 2023. My name is Ken. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. What's so funny, Dan?
You checking the date there to make sure you said the right thing. It made me laugh. I don't know why.
Listen, it's good to be correct. You know, sometimes I mess up the date. Sometimes I don't even have my microphone on and we have to start over. But thankfully, this isn't one of those times. I did finish from episode 312 my 2 cans of Table Talk from A. Arbor Brewing, and now I'm finally on to the brown ale from Wax Wings, which I am excited to finally drink. Dan, what do you got?
Re-upped on my Scottish export. I'm actually, more I drink it, the more I enjoy it. So I'm glad that turned out well. And then I found a bottle of Black Butte Porter in my fridge, so we're going to drink that.
That was whatever day we did I think we did a podcast collab with someone else, and we talked about those older beers that you kind of like forgot about, like those standard beers, and that's one of them for sure.
This is one of them, and I ended up putting it on tap. It was the first keg I put into my kegerator because I happened to have it at Total Wine. It's like, damn, I forgot how good it is.
Wendy, what are you drinking?
Also from my stash, I have a Rue Clue from Bardic Wells Meadery in Montague. They are fantastic. 100%.
What is it exactly?
A Rue Clue is a honey rhubarb strawberry wine with hops.
Nice.
Is somebody drinking these with you tonight, Wendy?
Well, I did not finish the Perrin yet. So I have these really awesome things that I found that you'll probably see a picture of on Better on Draft at some point, that allows me to save stuff in the refrigerator. It's a little silicone cap that I put on top of the open bottle and will save it for at least a couple of days so I can drink more later and not drink it all in one sitting.
It's cheating.
It's
True story. But I also have things to do in the morning.
Yeah, there are probably many times, Dan, and that all three of us that have probably drank and we're like, oh shit, we got to finish this, and then we finish it.
Oh yeah.
And then
you're like, oh shit.
I gotta feel that in the morning. That's for
that
sure.
8 a.m. meeting's gonna suck.
Yeah, I've definitely done that a few times. Yeah, you can't. I think it's a lot harder when you're out and you pay like bar prices for.
Yeah, so fun story about that. So I went to see Jerry Cantrell. If you don't know who that is, Alice in Chains. Last Saturday in Tempe. Also happened to be the Innings Festival to kick off spring training. So normally it takes 20 minutes to get home there. Quick Uber ride, no big deal. Drink like a shit ton of beer. Like, I'm having a good time. Because the Innings Festival ended at the same time, it took me 2 hours to get home, to get a ride and to get home. So, yeah, so drunk, hanging out way too late. That's fun combination in your mid-40s.
So I actually have a funny story about that type of thing happening when you're at a bar and you order something way too big for you to drink. And it was the first time I had ever ordered like a beer that cost like $50 for the bottle.
Holy shit.
But I mean, it was a bigger bottle, but it was my birthday. We were in Miami. We were getting ready to go on a cruise, and we were at Kush, which is a beer bar in Wynwood in Miami. And they were awesome. They had like a secret menu that you could look at to get the different beers. And we ordered off the secret menu, and it turned out to be a really big bottle. It was a sour, and I'm trying to think of what else. It was a really good beer, but there was no way we were finishing it there, along with all the other beer we had already ordered. And they actually let me take the bottle home with a champagne topper.
Nice.
Or with like a wine topper, so that we could finish it at the hotel the next day before we got on the boat. And I mailed them that wine bottle topper back so that they could.
Nice.
Yeah, that was awesome that they did that. They went way above and beyond because they'd never had any idea if they'd see me again.
I love places that have secret menus. I don't know if you see them a lot of places anymore, but if you ever make it to AleSmith out in San Diego, they have a speakeasy inside the brewery where it's all the barrel aged stuff. And you have to know the password to get into there. It's easy to find, but not everyone knows it. So you have to go into the speakeasy to get the barrel aged menu. I think we talked about it with the Unexpected Breweries owner is
Eddie.
Name is Eddie. Thank you, because he used to work there. He brought that up, and we were talking about it when he was on the show. It's a really cool concept. I wish more places actually did that kind of thing.
I've never had a secret menu or.
No, you're like, what is this voodoo you guys are talking about?
Apparently, I'm just not cool enough to understand. I just look at the menu and accept fate if that's everything that they have, and I'm just going to order from there.
It was lemongrass. It was a lemongrass sour. It was so good.
Oh wow.
Well, Wendy, what kind of article did you want to talk about today?
So I had a couple of different people send me articles about the fact that ABI InBev is, after closing down Ohio's Platform Beer Company just last week, they are followed suit, and I believe it was like 10%. This article that was sent to me from Good Beer Hunting, they don't say a specific number. They say they're not sure, but it was an unknown number of sales and marketing employees, but other employees in their craft brewery division. So it used to be that they were talking about how their craft brew department was their number one growth engine of the company, but it looks like they're following suit and starting to put their money towards the ready-made cocktails. So I was just wondering if you guys... Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, sorry, Wendy. I didn't mean to cut you off there. So I saw this come up. It was about a week ago, right, when this story initially broke. And I was like, why is everyone making a big deal about this brewery in Ohio? So something I just noticed out of here is it looks like other breweries under their craft beer umbrella have also laid off an unknown number of sales and marketing employees. So it looks like while this particular brewery made the story go big, it looks like it's something they're doing across the board.
Yep. So they started with, they actually just closed down the whole operation for Platform Beer Company. But then, and this isn't the first cut that they've made in the last couple of years. There have been multiple cuts throughout the time, or throughout the last few years that they've been doing. But this seems to be the biggest one. And it looks like their craft portfolio dollar chain retail fell 3.2% from last year. And overall, the volume losses were worse, down 7.4 in 2022, which is down from down 15.6% from the all-time high in 2020. So their beer sales are hurting, whether it's the national brands or just the craft beer brands, but it looks like they're starting to cut the craft beer brands right now in order to make room for the ready to drink cocktails.
Yeah, and I feel like this is what everyone's all been worried about Anheuser-Busch buying these breweries. I can tell you right now, our biggest brewery, I don't know, both of you could clue me in on what Michigan's like, but our biggest brewery here I was about to say Ohio because we're talking about that in Arizona, is owned by Anheuser-Busch, and it's not even close as far as size comes. Are there any major breweries owned by ABI out there?
No. The three big breweries that are owned by outside money is going to be Bell's, which is owned by Lion out of Australia, Founders, San Miguel out of Spain, and Atwater, which is Miller Coors.
So there's no ABI. Miller Coors is one that could pull that too. The other two, I don't know if you would ever actually see that happen. But, we've seen under the Miller brand with the Sab Miller brand folding and putting everything into Miller Coors, and I can't think of what the other branch that they have is. So that's something you could see too. But yeah, if it happened here, it would be our biggest brewery that would shut down. So I know we've been screaming about a craft beer bubble since 2015. I wonder if we're actually starting to see this happen.
I think that there are too many SKUs they're fighting against, and they have too many SKUs that they need to cycle down. I think you're going to get like Elysian, Wicked Weed, all those places. I think they're still going to have their brewery and their hometown brewery and that kind of stuff. And maybe the Anheuser-Busch will use them as more test sites where people, can make beers, send test batches and, play along and, do their part as like an R&D arm of the Anheuser-Busch. But what Anheuser-Busch doesn't have that Molson Coors has is Leinenkugel, which is a massive craft beer brand, quote unquote beer brand within the industry that kind of like blows away everyone else. So I think if Anheuser-Busch had that Leinenkugel, I think we would be talking, something different, but I don't foresee it happening with Molson Coors. But we're also seeing over the last few years, like Molson Coors' 10th and Blake have been dropping SKUs in Michigan. We don't have as many as we used to have. So it's just kind of, I think they just need to, because again, they're making all these RTDs now and seltzers, and that's on top of Bud Light, Bud Zero, Bud Select, Bud.
Bud Zero is still a thing. I
think so. But that like they have so many Buds, and then Bush Light, Natty Light, Natty Daddy, There's so many SKUs just in the world of Budweiser, like Anheuser-Busch, that they just don't have the facility to fight against all of these craft breweries to stand out anymore. It was easy to stand out when you had a low price point against, all these other craft breweries like a Liberty Street, Founders, Bell's, Tri-City, like these are the ones they're competing against. But now you can go to any store here in Michigan and I can go get, 40 to 50 different Michigan breweries just at,
at the gas station.
Yeah, at the gas station.
Anywhere you go. Yeah, literally. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. With this one brewery closing, they're not going to be scared to close other ones. So it'll be interesting to see what they actually decide to do moving forward.
I think their biggest issue is that since they did this, there's going to be a lot of brewers looking for other positions in the world.
You mean brewers who were formerly employed?
Well,
Anheuser-Busch?
I'm talking like brewers who are currently employed at Wicked Weed being like, all right,
looking to get out so it doesn't happen to them.
Wicked Weed might be going away soon. Let's go see what we need to do. Let's see, do I need to plan for a severance package and go open up a brewery myself? Do I need to go, knock on the door in New Belgium over there and see what they're doing? Do I need to go to Charlotte? Or I feel like that's going to scare a lot of good people out of their business, and they're going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy where they close more breweries.
So I'm curious now that you bring this up, like saying like these breweries could go away. What stops Anheuser-Busch from closing these breweries, just taking the recipes and making them not at these local facilities?
I don't think they have the facility to. They would have.
They don't have the bandwidth.
Well, they don't have the bandwidth, but they also don't have the facility to make those smaller batches.
Because they're all like the Budweiser, the Bud Light, the King Cobra.
Yeah,
I see what you mean.
Yeah, like you could take a big brand like 312, take it over to the New York brewery, I think is what they did when we had Goose Island on the show years ago, and try to brew 312 over at their New York Budweiser facility. But when you're dealing with like I don't think the money is in the recipes as much as the money is in the brand. And if you take away the brand, which involves like Wicked Weed, the Funkatorium, and being in Asheville, when you take away that part of the brand, I don't think anyone gives two shits about Wicked Weed if that happened.
So no one's buying Anheuser-Busch, relabeling it under their own name, is what you're saying?
No, I don't think so.
Gotcha.
No, I think Wicked Weed still being under the name Wicked Weed, being brewed in Asheville. I know we keep using Wicked Weed, but it could be for any of the other ones too. Being brewed in Asheville, North Carolina, promoting, local business because they still have local employees. They still, money goes to that city and that area. If they just literally took it and went and brewed it at, the random, New York brewery, I think it kills the whole brand. I think everyone would stop drinking it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, Wendy?
No,
Yes?
I agree. I agree. 100%. Sorry, I was trying to look something up because there was one in Florida that I liked that sold out was purchased by AB InBev. And I did not mean that sarcastically, actually. I say that because that's the way it was always presented to me. But after our interview with Goose Island, I don't like to call it selling out.
Well, there's a lot of give and take, whatever you want to get. Like, when Larry Bell sells Bells, you need someone who could buy it, which you would need someone with deep fucking pockets to buy Bells, or it's going to be someone in the industry that you don't like. Because he tried to give it to his daughter, and she didn't want it, and that's perfectly fine, too. And he can't brew forever. He's been doing this for 35, 40 years. He's got to retire at some point, and the money's got to go somewhere, or the ownership has to go somewhere. So, like, in my mind, I don't see, like, Larry Bell, what he did is selling out.
I don't think anyone does. I hope they don't.
Oh, they do.
There's something wrong with those people.
Dan, you're not in our Michigan beer as much as I am, obviously.
No, apparently not. Well, you know what? Allow Larry Bell to retire. Like, good for him. Isn't it the whole point is to make a living and
that is what
be able
the
to
American
enjoy
dream
life?
Is. He lived it, he did it, and he sold. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Like, why are you mad at him? Like, God, some people's children.
You can think he's an asshole, but he was a damn brilliant one.
Oh, there are other reasons why to not like Larry Bell, but that's for you to decide on your own. But
right.
Didn't he change the date of Hop Slam? I guess people hate him about that.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Changing.
Well, it doesn't take much to make people hate people anymore.
And of course, we drilled John Mallet on our show years ago about why they keep changing the fucking recipe to Oberon.
Oh my gosh, that's my favorite. Oh, my favorite.
We got Oberon Day coming up soon, so we're going to be posting that YouTube video again here.
Talking about them changing the recipe again.
But even if you look in the state of Michigan, like, unless you're in the scene, I don't think anybody knows Atwater is owned by Molson Coors.
Does anyone care? So that's a real question.
Yes, people do care.
People do care.
Do people that care? No. Or do people that matter care? No.
That's what I was about to ask that. Do people that actually matter care?
Who are the people that matter, though? That's a pretty wide open statement there.
The people that matter are the ones that are keeping Atwater in business.
Okay.
Like,
that's true.
You came out here for the Royal Rumble. I think it was 2019.
Yep.
If I'm remembering correctly, we drank a shit ton of Kilt Lifter. Did you care that that's owned by Anheuser-Busch?
No.
Did you give one fuck? That's what I thought. Like, who cares? The people that care don't matter. Like,
what?
who make a big deal about that?
The beer you talk about constantly is owned by AB InBev? What?
Yeah. It's owned. Four Peaks, our largest brewer, is owned by ABI. Who cares?
But like people just don't want to get into the minutia, though. Like,
if you like it, it's a good beer.
If you like it, it's a good beer. North Center Brewing, but the minutia of everything, like Shorts has a almost 20% ownership by Lagunitas United, which is owned by Heineken. Do people fucking care? Like, do you want to? Do you want to drink beer, or do you want to care about who owns what to drink the beer? Again. Yeah. People can be upset at Anheuser-Busch's business practices. People can be upset at Larry Bell's business practices. People can be upset at this stuff and choose not to drink it. Why I don't drink Founders. I have made that decision, but there is plenty of other beer for me to drink that I don't need to drink it. Again, what's the ethical consumption under capitalism is impossible. So make your decisions and drink what you want to drink. Like you drinking shorts doesn't affect me or offend me. You being upset because shorts is 20% owned by Lush, I'm like, come on, bro. Like I
can't believe people get mad about that. That's what blows my mind still. And we've been doing this how long?
But that's like, what bothers us the most is that people that get mad about that, something like that, as opposed to just drinking the beer.
Like, just enjoy it.
Like, I'm mad at a company who did blatantly racist things and then tried to cover it up and not put anyone into, proper punishment for said things. That's what I don't like. And then we've tried. Honest to God, Dan, and
that's a fair. And I'll let you. Sorry, I didn't mean to catch up. That's a fair reason to not like somebody.
And here's the thing: is that Founders has asked to be on our show, has reached out and said we want to be on Better on Draft. And no offense, I love having Kevin on. I love having Adam on. This is like Dave Engber's, like the owners of Founders wanted to be on, and I said to them, and I will tell them here that invitation is open as long as you have your meeting that you promised the Bruise Brothers to have a non-recorded sit down with that you reneged on. Founders did. You said, Dave Engber said to the Bruise Brothers, I will sit down and we'll chat with you. And then reneged on it. Not over a podcast, not over recording, not in front of anyone. Just talk. And he reneged. And when they came to us, I said, you have an obligation to the Bruise Brothers before you talk to us.
That's fair. That's a fair statement.
But that's for me. That's for me. And I don't, and I'll go around and I'll joke on the show about Founders. And I'll joke about what's going on because it's shitty what happened. But Dan, you drink Founders and I'll rag you because you're my friend. But if the person next to me is drinking Founders at some random bar, doesn't offend me or affect me, or I'm not, going, well, actually, guys, they're really, really bad.
Yeah. Was that your Brian Lesniewski impersonation? Yeah, right there. That
was my Brian Lesniewski doing a goofy. Well, actually, it's an impression of an impression.
That was good. And yeah, I'm drinking this because I have it. I can't tell you the last time I bought Founders, but honestly, I try not to let other people's opinions, affect me. Everyone's allowed to have their point of views. Don't get mad at other people. Like, I don't know why everyone has to be so offended. Like, when you said everyone gets offended so easily these days, like, God, just stop. Like, back the fuck up. We're all older. We're from generations that weren't like that. What the fuck happened? Like, why is everyone such a pansy about everything now?
It's because we all have a voice.
Yeah, everyone's like, "Oh God, how do I answer this?"
Back in the '60s, Dan, you didn't have Facebook. When you were upset, you had to go protest in front of the Capitol. Against the anti-Vietnam War protesters. Which, did you dodge the draft, or were you too old to be drafted?
I was too old for the draft. I would have went. They were just like, "Nah, we can't take you."
What's your article, Dan?
We're actually keeping down. I'm glad Wendy had this one because we're actually going down the road of craft beer actually struggling. So craft brewers have been living in turmoil for a few years now. Slowing growth, increased competition, a pandemic, which we all know about, shifting consumer focuses, a consolidating middle tier, shrinking retail shelf space, which we just talked about, and all kinds of other things. So craft brewers continue to try to figure out how to survive all of this. Got a couple of examples here, which actually kind of caught me kind of off guard. 21st Amendment has reimagined its 120,000 square foot production facility into a canned beverage co-packing facility capable of producing beer, non-alcoholic beer, F&B, seltzers, canned cocktails, energy drinks. Goes on and on and on. 21st Amendment had 6 million cases of annual capacity of the facility and the capacity to can 12, 16, and 19.2 ounce cans and a variety pack from 4 to 30 cans. So that's something they've done. Now, another one that caught my eye is the Lost Abbey. We all know their beer, at least I think you guys do, is actually completely exiting their production facility. They're actually looking for partnerships to contract brew their beer. Looks like Pizza Port, if you're familiar with them, Ken, you have had their beer, is going to take over the space because Pizza Port is still growing. So this brings me to the whole point, talking about Wendy's article with another brewery closing. Are we really at this bubble? At this point, we have breweries that are closing down, completely exiting the production facilities, turning into co-packing facilities. Are we at the point where craft beer is going to have to scale down because the population, every year someone else turns 21, another generation turns 21. We brought this up about a month ago, and they're looking for something different. Are we at the point where everyone has to scale back, and what's going to be the result of it?
Wendy?
I'm sorry, I got sidetracked sharing our link.
It's all good. So basically, it kind of piggybacks off of what you were talking about with the Ohio brewery closing. We now have breweries looking for ways to survive. Lost Abbey, for example, has completely moved out of their production facility and is now looking for places to contract brew their beer. 21st Amendment is now turning into a co-packing facility because they don't sell enough to justify having a 120,000 square foot facility for canning and bottling. Where do we go with this? Is this the time when craft beer is finally going to have to scale back?
I'm going to say yes and no. Yes, I do think we're going to have to scale back, but I think everybody has to scale back right now. It's not just a craft beer thing. I think everybody's facing challenges that they didn't expect 5 years ago, and now they're doing that. The fact that facilities are too big, I think a lot of businesses are running into that right now. They have facilities that they expected to fill with way more people, and business is just not back to where it was pre-pandemic. So they're having to find creative ways to do that, which sounds like 21st Amendment definitely did. Diversifying their portfolios, I think, just makes sense. Like, they've been doing that for years. It's not new. It's just that we have it on the internet to tell them that it's new right now, I guess. It's not the first time we've had prepackaged cocktails come up, or we've had something new come in. I remember when Not Your Mom's root beer came out, everybody made a huge deal about it. Like, they were all kinds of crazy about, is this going to take down the beer industry because we've got these new cocktails?
I remember
nobody even has that anymore.
You couldn't even find Not Your Father's root beer
because it was flying up. And there was another brand that came out around the time too, is the knockoff. Was it Henry's?
Yeah, that's when we had Matt Bush come in, because he brought in Henry's hard soda, like orange soda, and a few others.
Oh, that's right. Not Your Father's Mountain Dew or whatever was another.
I knew I had that wrong.
Yeah, that was still in the Not Your Father's brand of things. I remember I didn't get a chance to try it until it was at some random venue in Ohio that I went to go see a wrestling show in, and I'm like, I can have it here.
The root beer.
The Not Your Father's root beer. Like, it was. Yeah. Coming in and flying off shelves like in a matter of seconds.
That was crazy. Yeah.
But like Bartles and James back in the day, like it's not new to have new things. Like, you have to remember it was the two old guys for the Bartles and James, right?
Yep.
On their porch with their 2-liter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bartles and James guys, the wine coolers. Are wine coolers even still a thing in 2023?
No, I think it's already a drink.
Gone to look for one. But that brings up a point too. Back then, it was Not Your Father's root beer. Still came in a beer bottle. Still, brown bottle. Things people were drinking. If you guys remember the Jack Daniels RTDs that were probably early 2000s, early to mid 2000s. Punch. Yeah, there were different flavors of that. Now you've got everything. You've got your screwdriver in a can. You've got your margarita in a can. You couldn't get that back then. Is that really what we've moved to now? And people are like, I can just crack open this, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. People like it right now because it's easy, but they're going to realize it's too much sugar and it doesn't really taste as good as a real cocktail. So they're going to go away from it. That's my whole thought on that too.
I disagree. if I can go to a party now and instead of bringing a 6-pack of Coke and a pint of Jack Daniels, all I need is a 6-pack of Jack and Coke RTD. Why would I make my own mixer? Why would I mix my own
They're still
drinks?
too health conscious.
Well, if
They're still too health conscious to go with all that sugar.
If they're
it's fine
health
right now.
conscious for the cola, then they're going to go and they're going to drink another RTD. They're going to go and they're going to drink a hard seltzer. They're going to go and drink a long drink. They're going to go and drink something that's going to be less sugar, less carbs, less calories. Like if they're health conscious, now I have, instead of a vodka soda or a vodka whiskey 7-Up, like I probably have some type of RTD that is either in seltzer form, like Moscow Mule seltzer by Oddside Ales. Now I have a legit Moscow Mule in a hard seltzer can at 110 calories and 0 carbs. Like, for the health conscious people, there's going to be health conscious people. For the lazy people, there's going to be lazy drinks. And I think we're going to see the growth of RTDs continue. And when I say RTDs, let's just be honest, everything that isn't beer, wine, and liquor. So,
what do we have? Like
seltzers.
RC Cola, hard RC Cola, and hard like Fanta or whatever's out there.
Still, the best seltzers are coming from local breweries. So,
see, I don't know. Do you think so? Like,
the best selling seltzers might be right now White Claw, but people are going to get tired of the White Claw.
I don't know, because there's a difference. A lot of times from the breweries, they're like the sour style. If you know what I'm talking about, where they're like sours.
I know what you're talking about because I've had a couple.
I don't know if that's the right term. Don't know if that's the right term. Those turn me off, but I'll knock back a White Claw. You're like, yeah, you have something to drink. Here's a White Claw. They're like, okay, like those are easy to knock back.
Yeah, but they've already gone from drinking White Claws to drinking White Claws with vodka in them. So,
that is the new thing. You're right.
They're already cutting down on, like, the whole point was that, I could get drunk on this White Claw thing, but now you're adding vodka to it. So
I made that comment. I think it was last week I first saw they have those now. It's like, they just picked up what everyone was doing anyways, adding vodka to their seltzer.
Hell yeah.
So now here we go.
I mean, that's how, oh crap, I can't remember what it's called now. The Jaeger bombs. That's how Jaeger bombs ended up, because people were already mixing them with their Red Bull.
Wait, you can buy pre-mixed Jaeger bombs?
No, but when you would go to a bar, I'm sure that there is something similar to that now.
Yeah, she's saying like they cracked open like a case of Red Bull, a fifth of Jaeger, pre-made it, and then would just pour straight from the...
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever actually seen that. So my favorite Jaeger bomb story, we all have them. You guys know Necto in Ann Arbor.
Yes.
Back in the day, I'd go there on Mondays. They would do, because they could get 3 shots out of a can of Red Bull. So it'd be, if you wanted one Jaeger bomb, it was $9. 2 of them, $10, or $3, or 3 of them, you got $11. So you could get 3 Jaeger bombs for $11.
Oh dear God!
And just go hard as hell.
I'm still not allowed to do Jaeger bombs in public. And I'm not telling that story.
Augie's used to give us T-shirts because of how many Jaeger bombs.
Yeah, I remember those T-shirts too. You had to do.
No Jaeger bombs in public.
Didn't you have to do like 50 Jaeger bombs to get the T-shirt?
10. They would give you a punch card. It was 10, and we would get 4 or 5 shirts a night to just. Ken, you were there. You remember how that used to go.
For my Jaeger bomb is always, I had when we would go to Canada, I was always the designated driver simply because my friends got too drunk too fast. So my rule was, I will be your DD, but you have to buy me a pitcher of beer at the beginning of the night. So they would buy me a pitcher of beer, and they would each get 4 Jaeger bombs, and that's how they would start off their night at the fucking Peppers, I think was the name of the bar.
Peppers was a bar in Windsor. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it was like they'd order like 20 Jaeger bombs, and 1 pitcher of beer would be the first round. And I would look at it and just drink my beer like, okay, calm down, everyone. I never really got into Jaeger as much as everyone else did. I never did Jaeger. I did a lot of Jaeger and Mountain Dew would be like my mix. Oh yeah.
Jaeger and Mountain. What is wrong
as like
with you?
a mixed cocktail? Yeah. I mean, I was
What?
I was 21.
The only thing to mix Jaeger with, I think it's cranberry juice to make a red-headed slut. Other than that, you don't really mix
That's
it.
not what's in a redheaded slut, is it?
I thought it's cranberry. No, it's grenadine. It's grenadine, not cranberry juice.
I'm gonna have to
You're
look
right.
that up now. I thought there was like
What?
cinnamon something, whatever, and so we went on a trip one time. We were going to New Orleans, and there was a hurricane, so we couldn't go there because they shut the city down. So we ended up in Memphis, which on the way home we stopped in Chicago, and we stopped in Illinois. We ended up in this place called Montoon, Illinois, and we went into a bar, and it was all very young people, and we were not very young. So we asked them where the old people hung out, and they sent us to a different bar, and we got there in time for last call, and I was ordering
In Illinois.
In Illinois. I was ordering for 3 of us. And I said I would like 2 Jaeger bombs and a Miller Lite. And he said $8. And my friends that where I was ordering for said, I will take that as well. So
That's
we ended up
amazing.
with like 4 Jaeger bombs and 2 Miller Lights for each last call. But it was really funny that he was like $8. We were like, yeah, I'll take that too. Even
Were
my
you guys
friends that
driving?
don't drink liquor. Oh no, we were walking.
No, did you fly from Memphis to
No,
Illinois?
we were driving to New Orleans, and there was a hurricane, so we ended up going to
okay.
Memphis, and then we drove back. We were driving back home, and we stopped. I don't remember if it was before Chicago or after that we stopped in Montoon, but I'll never forget stopping in Montoon at the hotel that we stayed at. It was like $79 for the night, and we had a jacuzzi in our room.
The honeymoon suite right there.
It was it's a small college town. There was only like 6 bars in the entire place, but apparently 3 of them the young kids went to, and 3 of them we went to.
It's where the locals went to.
Yeah.
The locals.
My friend's like, I'm pushing 40 and I do not belong in this bar. Where do we go? And that was before I turned 40. So
you're at a college bar, basically.
oh yeah. But it was a good time. We had fun.
So a redheaded slut is Jaeger, peach schnapps, and cranberry juice. So you were missing a part.
Oh,
I was
it
right on the
makes
cranberry.
So much more sense now, though.
I didn't know there was schnapps in it.
Well, it's so funny talking about not knowing what's in a drink. So I haven't had energy drinks in over 3 years. And at bowling, I got for those that don't bowl, real quick anecdote: if you bowl and you leave a 5-pin and you miss the 5-pin, you owe everybody a round. That's just what happens in league bowling. So I messed up. I left a 5-pin. I didn't make it. I suck. So one of the person wanted a Johnny Vegas, and I'm like, man, I haven't had a Johnny Vegas in a long time. I will take a Johnny Vegas too. And if you're not familiar with what's in a Johnny Vegas, it's basically tequila, schnapps, and Red Bull. So I broke like my 3 years of not having energy drinks on accident because I forgot there was Red Bull. Mind you, it's like, an ounce of Red Bull, but...
Yeah, it's not like you knock back a can.
No, not at all. But for my story, as we are talking about all these different areas where craft beer and the fans are, there is an article out from about a week ago about Athletic Brewing and Super Coffee teaming up on a pre-workout brew. We've talked about, shower beers. We've talked about morning beers. Now pre-workout beers. Can you get behind a pre-workout beer?
Yeah, 100%, because a post-workout beer, especially non-alcoholic, is actually more beneficial than drinking water. And I'm assuming what's in this. I didn't look at this article. I should probably bring it up. But what's actually in this?
So it's going to have caffeine, less than a 0.5% ABV, malted barley, rice protein, coffee, oats, wheat, hops, yeast, and coffee flavoring. It's going to be 130 calories, 23 grams of carbs, 5 grams of protein.
Yeah, I can get behind this. I don't know if the calories are a good thing for this. I think that'd be my one gripe about it, because one of the best pre-workouts currently is just a cup of black coffee to get that energy going. You don't have to spend money on anything. I feel like this would be a good post-workout looking at it, but if they want to market it as a pre-workout, that works too. People will probably still buy it.
Well, Athletic Brewing has always been promoting their beers with sporty figures like hiking and surfing and all these others. So obviously this is a different market going after, because of the protein intake. They're going after people who are going for weightlifting or something like that. For me, I always did post workouts. I never did a pre-workout prior to going to the gym.
You don't need it, honestly. Black coffee is the best thing. Pre-workouts to give you energy. That's why I'm like, look, that's like, do you need the calories? You can just drink a cup of black coffee to do it. Post-workouts for recovery, this would work perfect with the calories, the carbs, the protein. You would, if you're one of those guys, you need more than 5 grams of protein. You probably want about 55 to 60 more, but
I mean, maybe throw in a scoop of whey at the end.
Into this. That's not a bad choice. That'd be interesting, especially with it being carbonated. I wonder what that would be like.
There's your mixed cocktail right there, Dan. Whey
there you
protein.
go.
That's almost like a Long Island iced Z, if you remember what's in one of those.
Oh, Zach Ryder.
Tequila, rum, vodka, Coke Zero, and whey protein.
That's how you do it. That's a good Wednesday night right there.
What about you, Wendy?
Well, I'm always up for a beer, whether it's before or after a workout.
or during. Hold on.
I've seen those videos where they do yoga with the wine. Yeah, I could totally get into that. I haven't, but I could. Maybe that'll be my next TikTok series, is yoga with beer.
It's not a bad idea.
I think with Dan, this is not a bad opportunity to sell something that would be beneficial. Like if you went out and did the lawn or did snow shoveling or something like that, where you need to kind of, have or get some calories in you after doing something that's exerting energy without necessarily, going to the gym, for those people who don't go to the gym or anything like that. I feel like, or even drinking it while you're mowing the lawn. Like if you
I was going to say a lawnmower beer.
Yeah. If you go on, Dan.
Oh, anything. We've joked about lawnmower beers and mowing the lawn being a BCBS or another 10% beer in the past. It's like, I don't know. I'd rather knock back a dragon's milk while I'm cutting the grass than anything.
Everything's a lawnmower beer if you drink it while you mow the lawn.
You keep your lines straight if you drink a dragon's milk while you're mowing the lawn?
I think you could do it. I don't think you're going to get drunk enough to get too drunk mid-mow.
Depends on if you're already 5 deep.
I was going to say, if you were pre-gaming.
How big is your lawn, right?
If you were having a lawnmower beer and a weed whacking beer and a tree trimming beer and sidewalk edging beer, sooner or later it's too many beers. But I think
it's 2:00 on a Saturday.
Each their own.
For sure. That is going to do it for the news segment, Better on Draft podcast. We will be back next week, folks. We've got plenty of great interviews upcoming. Don't you worry. Including the likes of former Arcadia owner Jim Brown, McKellar, Royal Oak Brewery, The Alchemist, Atwater Brewing, Alaskan Brewing, Leinenkugel. Plenty of great upcoming shows. Listen to us live, 7:15 p.m. Eastern. Friday nights is when we go live. So stay tuned, listen to us live, check out our video, check out our podcast, and no matter what you think of your beer, we think it's better on draft. Have a good night.
Hold my blunt.